Common sense isn't gone. It just needs a comeback. Common Sense Superheroes with David and Greg.
What's up? And this is not my Melissa Etheridge impersonation, even though if I could, I would come to my window, baby. May the 4th be with you, my friend Gregory. This is episode 32. Is that right?
I think that's right. We were Mad Dog
Okay.
last week, so that's the last episode. And
Okay. I got a few
lo-
32s in mind. I'll go old school with one of them. William Andrews, one of my first favorite running backs of all time. Him and Gerald Riggs for the Falcons. Episode William Andrews for me, Greg. You got a 32 that you're fond of?
I mean, I think just for the tenure of this show, it's got to be OJ.
You're right about that. Good old boy, OJ. Man, there's a lot of 32s. He definitely did not do it any favors by killing his wife, basically, but ex-wife at the time. Magic Johnson's 32. Shaq with Orlando, 32. I mean, the list goes on.
Yeah, it's not one of the more well known or bigger recognized number, but there have been a lot of very, very good 32s. And speaking of 32s, I know you're way past 32 years old and that gray beard, it's all starting to show. But I
Mm-mm-mm.
think we need to ask for all of the Common Sense Nation to really give you a shout out and tip their hat to you coming in and putting in the work today, not feeling well, a little under the weather. And my man's taking one for the team. And he goes, "Hey, look, we missed Friday. We can't let the people starve. So we got to get on here and feed y'all." So, David, from myself and the rest of the Common Sense Nation, man, we appreciate the effort today. You're a gamer. It's like
I
Michael Jordan's
appreciate it.
flu game all over again.
There it is. Turned out it was a bad pizza for Michael Jordan. We got duped this whole time. If you watch the documentary Last Dance, he let it be known that he had a bad pizza, and that's what it was, and not the flu. Still, I don't know what's worse, the flu or having food poisoning, because food poisoning will drain you a ton as well. So I don't. Give me the option. I think I'll take flu.
It's another one of those examples, though, like how long did we all believe the wrong story that was so easily corrected? It just, man, more and more, and it is a whole different wormhole we'll go down some point. I start looking back to just the 40, damn near 48 years I've been on this planet and things that I have read, seen, or know or believed to be true. These days, I'm questioning everything. Like
I
Michael didn't
know.
have the flu; it was a bad pizza. What else? What else is not right?
Well, he let it fly too. I mean, he played into it a lot, and I they had to have made some money off this somehow by saying it was a flu game, whether it be from a specialized flu game shoes or something, but he definitely did not correct us in that until how many years later with the Last Dance documentary, but like Greg said, I am feeling a little under the weather. I've had a rough couple weeks. As soon as I'm quick to tell everybody I don't have allergies and whatnot, boom, it happens. It ran through. My oldest had it, and my wife had it, and here I am talking about allergies don't affect me. They don't affect me like Greg. I'm not weak like Greg, and here we are. But I have spent a lot of time on a ball field and a lot of dust-filled ball fields. This past Saturday, Greg, will go
Brought
over
home
your
some
weekend
jewelry,
as
though, didn't
well.
we?
Brought home some jewelry on both days. Saturday, I had to go in with the Mudcats. We only had to win one game, and I was hoping we'd have won that first game and knocked it out, but it's never quite that simple. You never works out like you want it to. So we ended up getting smoked that first game. Trash Pandas came to play, apparently, put it on us, and it was always when Brooks' parents came to go watch the boys play. They had their grandparents in the house to come watch, and of course they crapped the bed. But we ended up getting it done in that second game and brought home some hardware. And tell you what, I posted a little while ago on my Facebook, and we were talking a little bit before the show, Greg, about moments and how important they are. And man, being able to hand out rings from my older two boys, championship rings on a team that I coached, with my youngest boy beside me, helping me pass out the rings and congratulating his older brothers. Man, that's one of those snapshot moments that I won't soon forget. It was quite a special moment.
No, there are, and you and I have both been, in so many ways blessed beyond what we deserve. When you look at our wives, you look at our kids, and And let's be real, you and I could have certainly down through natural selection, we could have passed down some worse traits than our kids got. But no, man, it's such a powerful thing, and there are moments in life that I just don't think anything other than being a parent can encapsulate those emotions. And for you, on the baseball field, like you said, celebrating a victorious moment for your two older boys with your younger boy there as a part of it, helping build. There's just I can't imagine anything as a parent that could connect on that level emotionally than something like that. For me this weekend, I got no problem admitting I had sweaty eyes in public once again as we went to church service yesterday morning, and it was the senior dedication service where, the youth pastor was up there talking about all the kids and how well he had gotten to know them. And, first and foremost, my oldest daughter, and you know her a little bit, just everything a girl dad could ever want. She's absolutely beautiful. She's brilliant. She was early accepted to UGA. That doesn't happen. Like that's impressive. She's pretty athletic. She's just so grounded. But I'm telling you, the thing I'm most proud of her is her connection to God, her faith, and as a 17-year-old girl about to go off to college, I am as unconcerned as I can be about this situation because I know that child, I know what's in her heart, and I just couldn't be prouder of her. But I will tell you, seeing that beautiful girl walk across stage at church Sunday morning, I was looking around going, I don't want to cry in front of all these people, but I just don't think I can help it. And next thing I know, my wife's needling me in the side, and my younger daughter sitting there going, "Why are you crying, Dad?" I mean, it's hard to put into words when you just have some of those moments that you just know, nobody else can understand what I'm feeling right now, but it's real.
In moments like that, if you were not tearing up and crying, that's when we really have to question you because that's like you said, there's moments you can't put a price tag on. There's no vacation that can be taken by yourself that can compare to a moment like that. That's just snapshot. That's just part of those you look back on later in life when you're sitting in a rocking chair and hopefully 80 something years old and just thinking back over your life. And that's a moment that gets you. And like I said,
Well,
that's what,
and you and I've touched on it, and I've been fortunate, dude. I've traveled a lot for a guy my age, and I've seen some of the coolest places and some of the most beautiful natural scenery in the world. But I'm telling you, every time you're in one of those places, it's made special by the people that are there with you.
mhm.
It's that place with these people. Like that's, this past year, earlier this year when I took the girls out to Utah for the first time. I mean, I've been there, but it was just as beautiful as it always was. But to see it and to have my kids there with me, with my wife, that's a different level. And being able to share those kind of moments, it's something I think as a society, we may have gotten a little farther away from because everybody's just in their screens and living in their own world, and we don't share enough moments as a whole. So I think that's a cool thing, and maybe it's a little divine intervention that you had one of those moments over the weekend. I had one of those moments over the
Mhm.
weekend, and rolled out perfectly because we didn't have anything else to talk about on this show. So we'll just talk about emotional moments over the weekend.
Yeah, not much when we were so busy, we don't know what's going on for the most part. It was there, bittersweet. I love it was a great little team we had with the Mudcats, so I hate to see it go. And looking back over it, like you said, when we're older, I'm gonna think about handing out the rings to them and the excitement in that. I'm gonna forget about the parts where I was having to scream at them on how to turn a double play or don't just watch strike three go down. Those moments I'm gonna forget about, but the ending part is what I'm gonna remember. And it was a very sweet, bittersweet moment because I enjoy rec ball. I enjoyed this season with them, but we are moving on to the All Stars, and that practice starts tomorrow night for the older two. So I'm excited for that and give them a chance to play a little more baseball. But Sunday, I had two games on Saturday for the older boys. Came home after winning the championship, dropped off the other boys, and went straight about another 45 minutes the other way to the youngers one, and we went and had 2 games there, which we ended up going 2-0, which was great. So 4 games in 1 day was a bit rough, not gonna lie. I love baseball. I damn near didn't even hardly turn on the Braves game when we got home. I was like, "I've seen enough baseball for 1 day," but as you could tell, the first 2 games with the older boys is at turf field, so it don't bother me as much, but the dust just being thrown around for the the younger boy was rough. And I had another "you shitting me" moment because when all the craziness going and back and forth, coming home, taking off super fast, we get about, I don't know, 15 minutes away from the ball field, if not less. And we already were missing batting practice because usually you get there an hour before time but because of the championship game, we couldn't leave. So I look back, I'm like, hey, we're getting close. How about you start putting your cleats on? And I noticed him in the back, just kind of looking around like, what's, going through his bag and all this shit, all this stuff. And I'm like, you don't have your cleats, do you? Oh, no. And I specifically remember his mama saying, hey, do not wear your Crocs. Go ahead and put your cleats on. We're going to be in a hurry. I'd be damned if he didn't forget his cleats. All he had was some Crocs. And we were in Winder, Georgia, which is a cool little town, but not exactly the metropolis. So not a lot of stores that you can find, not a lot of Dick's Sporting Goods or Hibbett's that I could find. So the closest thing we could find was Walmart that I saw. So like, let's go see if Walmart sells cleats. FYI, they don't sell cleats, but they do sell some cheap $12. I was to prove a point, I wanted to get him some shoes with some characters on it. I wanted him to wear some like Lightning McQueen's. I wanted to embarrass the shit out of him. So I'm like, you're getting the cheapest, crappiest shoes to prove my point that you shouldn't have forgot your damn shoes, your cleats. So we got these $12. We called them Air Waltons, Air Sams, Wally ones. We would call them everything. They're just gray shoes with a little zip tie, basically for shoestrings. And I was like, I wanted to embarrass them, make them look foolish. This little son of a gun goes out and has one of the better 2 games he's ever had, and is loving them little cheap ass shoes.
Dude, it is so funny. Like the whole time you were leading into that story, that was my first thought was go, man, if he's as superstitious as I am, maybe my luck, I'd put on some shitty ass shoes and go out there go 4 for 4 with about 3 RBIs and go, well, I'm wearing them every game until that
He
stops.
did. Little Joker had a in the park homer. It was a huge field, so he wasn't gonna get it in out of the park homer. He pitched well. He did great, played the field good. So much so that the next day I'm like, hey, we you can make sure you bring his cleats. And he's like, I'm
Hey,
wearing these shoes.
David, man,
Which
we're product of the '80s, brother. It's got to be the shoes.
listen, everybody was
Mars used to tell us it's got
not
to be the
ragging on him,
shoes.
but they were like, man, them shoes, something you got to keep wearing them. And boy, he stuck with it, and he had to wear those shoes again the next day. We took his cleats in case because there's no grip in it. I'm like, surely he's gonna fall. He didn't, but he wore them shoes the next day too, and had a pretty decent day. We ended up winning the championship. Had 2 games that day. So, well, it was quite a championship weekend for the Smith boys. We had rings given out on Saturday, rings given out on Sunday. It was quite a damn day, a weekend rather.
Have our Atlanta Braves contacted you about what to do with Ronald's soft tissue injury since you're the expert there?
I am the expert in it, and you knew this shit was coming. You just had a feeling. We already had Michael Harris go down with his little quad tightness, and then now hamstring on Acuna. And all jokes aside, once the hamstring starts getting a little tweaky, it's damn near impossible to fix. I'm sorry. And you saw what happened to Julio Jones, the same scenario. Once you start seeing the hamstrings go, it's a
And
downhill scenario here.
this stage in life, I don't know what 100% speed looks like for me, but I can tell you I haven't even sniffed 100% about 15
Mm-mm.
years because once you pop a hammy for good,
It's
there's a little
terrifying.
voice in your head that says, I'm not going all out ever again. Because once that sniper gets you and you go down, dude, it is
Mhm.
never the same again. And I mean, I literally, and I'm still a dumbass trying to run around in the outfield chasing softballs and trying to run around the bases and still having fun or trying to have fun doing that. But man, there's that little voice in your head is for real. He goes, I don't care. You can throw me out these days. I am not shifting it into high gear. I'm not going full speed.
I know there was a time where if I hit a ground ball to the pitcher, I'm going full tilt trying to beat out everything possible. Now I had obviously the hamstring injuries I've had over the years, but through an Achilles, there's no sprinting in my life. I've came to that resolution that my days of all out sprinting, if you come and abduct my child and start taking off, I'm just gonna have to be like, well, I got 2 backups. That's all I can say. Either I gotta
Got
throw
more kids
something
than
at you,
hamstrings.
try to shoot you. Yes, I got more kids than hamstrings. More kids. I only got down to 1 decent Achilles. I wouldn't even say it's great, but the one is completely shot. So it's a rough one. It's the realities of aging, and which Acuna is not necessarily aging per se, but the realities of injuries. It's hard to battle from, man. It's a mind F for sure. And
It is.
Acuna is battling it.
But isn't it amazing, and you and I being in the same generation, it's amazing to me just how much your body naturally communicates to you because, I mean, again, you talk about when you and I were playing, dude. I mean, between me, you, Andy, Chad Campbell, dude, we were covering some ground out there in the outfield, folks laying out all the time. Thought of laying out in the outfield right now, I'm going, that ground is hard. I don't land gracefully or softly anymore. It used to be like either a nice little slide or maybe like a tuck and roll. Now every landing just has a thud to it. Something hurts when I get up. I'm just sorry. There's no more 100% speed. There is no more laying out in the outfield or sliding into bases. And it's not even something like I'm consciously aware of. It just doesn't happen anymore. Like it's not a mental thing where I'm going, hey, I got to be careful. I don't want to get hurt. It's just the connection between my brain and body is so in tune right now. My brain just goes, you ain't got it in you anymore. Don't even try.
It's hard when I'm out there coaching the boys and there's a ball. I'll start shagging balls or whatnot, and I'll see a ball hit, a little short, a little beside me or whatever. And I want to go out and get it and show off, but I just can't. I'm like, I know beyond a shadow of a doubt, I'm gonna pull something, and that's way worse. I will say though, if I pick it up and I'm trying to throw something, I still will try to throw my damn arm out. I am bad about that. Even if I don't even warm up, I'm trying to impress the kids with my arms. That's embarrassing that I'm still trying to impress 11 and 12-year-olds by how hard I can throw a ball, but I can't help myself there. But as far as sprinting, no.
It's self-preservation at this point, and I know better. Yeah, I'm still pretty bad with the arm. I've gotten pretty good about. I usually have 1 or 2 good throws a day in me, and I kind of have come to the conclusion if you show off 1 good throw, usually you don't have to throw it again because they just don't run on you. But every
Yeah.
now and then somebody will get balls, test you, and I'm with you. That part of the brain hadn't kicked in yet. If I got the ball in my hand and somebody's between bases, I am absolutely slinging it as hard as I can to try to get them out.
Obviously, I waited a little later in life to have kids, but I think back to, coaches I've had and whatnot, and having to they'll throw the ball a couple times and, talk about their arm. And here I am, like constantly throwing with 3 boys. I'm throwing all the time. I'm throwing pop ups. I'm hitting ground balls, hitting fun goals to both my boys and just the players in general. And I think back, I'm like, man, coaches back in my day did it, but they were probably like 34, 35.
Mhm.
Here I am, 47, 48, pushing it. And I'm like out here just trying to throw my damn arm out over and over and over. I'm like, man, I see why you're supposed to have kids younger now because it is hard, especially when you have
Well,
boys. If I had girls, may not be as bad because I wouldn't be as into it, but boy, it's tough.
I think part of that too is just a general microcosm of our society, though. Like everything's just gotten overkill. Like you mentioned, y'all had 4 or 5 games over the weekend, 2, 3, 4 games a day. Like that's just too much. And you and I kind of got out right before travel ball really became big. I played in a few travel tournaments towards the tail end of my career, but man, like I remember how hard it was just when school ball and rec ball kind of overlapped for a couple of months each year and having to go from one practice to another or go from a practice to a game. But even still, rec ball was, 1 game during the week, 1 game on Saturday, maybe 1 or 2 practices. But this stuff now, man, and I know people that like it's travel ball tournaments every weekend. They're traveling 7, 8 hour radius. Like they're going
Yeah.
all over the place, practicing every day, hitting lessons, pitching lessons, all the things. And man, it's a lot, and I think it's like anything else. There is I'm a big believer in youth sports. I think youth sports is absolutely a tremendous asset in our society, but there is such a thing as too much of a good thing. And sometimes I think with travel baseball and AAU basketball and some of this stuff, it has just gotten to where it's too much. And I mean, nothing at that level or that stage of life should be as consuming as some of these travel ball teams are for these kids.
Damn near a second job for the parents as well. I mean, you spend all weekend It's very brutally hard when you have multiple kids. If I had 1 kid, shoot, I could do it all the time, it would be a piece of cake, but when you have 3 kids, you're gonna miss something, and I don't like missing anything. It's brutal to miss thankfully, Game Changer technology is a little bit better now where you can watch it on video, but it's still not the same, they can't see you watching it. You can tell them you just watched it, but it's not the same as being in the stands. Um, it is rough.
And and I remember, like, especially at the age your boys are, like, I'm not saying it made a difference in performance or even effort, but I knew when my mom and dad were at the game. I knew when I knew if my grandparents were at the game. I knew if I had friends watching, like,
Mhm.
there's a different level. So, yeah, I've got to imagine, especially when you've got 3 as close together as yours are. I mean, luckily 2 of them can play on the same team in a lot of cases, but, yeah, you can only be in one place at one time, and I know that's hard. I know you and Brooke have to kinda divide and conquer probably a lot more than y'all wish you did.
Mhm.
But yeah, and there again, that's just where there should be a way where we could spread this stuff out a little bit more to where it doesn't absolutely run the parents ragged trying to keep up with it. And frankly, let's look at it from the kids. How many talented, potentially really good level kids just got tired of the game by the time they were 12, 13 years old because they've been playing so damn much baseball.
Yeah. As much as I worry about the fact that my boys are not in love with it and are consumed with it with every waking hour like I feel like I was, I'm almost kinda glad in a way because maybe they won't get burnt out and they wanna continue playing on later. It's a tough balancing act that you gotta do. Like, I want them to love it, but not so much that they wanna do it all the time and get burned out from it. And even the playing the spring and fall baseball is odd to me because I feel like in Thomaston, it was unless I didn't know about a fall league, it was just you play in the spring into the summer. That was it. I don't remember fall. Fall was football or basketball going into winter. It was no fall baseball. I kind of wish there was, but then again, maybe why I loved it so much. So
But
that's
yeah,
new to me.
yeah, like our generation, we had 3 distinct seasons growing up. You had football, baseball, and basketball season.
Yeah.
I always sat out football season because I didn't like playing football, but you had baseball and basketball. They didn't overlap, and I said there was some overlap between school ball and rec ball from time to time, but at least then it was still the same season. But yeah, invariably, even as much baseball as I played, I would routinely go for a 3 or 4 month stretch sometimes without having a game or practice or anything organized. Now, I still get out and throw or maybe go to the batting cages a couple of times. Like we still, because I enjoyed it, but this constant demand and these kids being pulled in a million different directions and all the things, and hell, now some of these AAU and travel ball teams are getting like the NIL with free agency and poaching kids off this team for next weekend.
Mhm.
And hey, you want to play? I mean, it's just I don't know. It's just something I don't think, 11, 12, 13-year-olds necessarily should be exposed to. And it doesn't always have a positive, beneficial relationship on their parents either. And some of the animus and vitriol that comes with some of these high level tournaments that parents are paying stupid money to entry fees and $1,000 bats and all this crazy stuff. Some of these parents get pretty into this stuff too. And it's still supposed to be just a game.
Yeah, well, they get into it, and before I get to that part, I'll talk about like there was I think it was last, I guess January or something like that. My middle boy and my younger boy wanted to play flag football, which I loved. I was like, great. So they were playing flag football, and the way it works around here, that rolls in basketball season was still going on as well, and then that led into around here around February, you start going to baseball evaluations and whatnot. So there was a point where there was a 2 week span where we were doing flag football, baseball, and basketball, like all in the same week. That was rough. That was tough on just time wise. You feel like you always on the go, but people getting into it. And I love baseball. I feel like I'm a super uber competitive coach. I was very lucky to have probably the oldest coaching staff in rec league because I had a bunch of guys my age or older on my helping me coach, which may be why we won. We had some hella good coaching, but I get really into it. I'm You've seen some of the things written. I'm very competitive, but these people that get in fight with umpires or other coaches and whatnot over 12U 9U, 10U, 8U baseball is unbelievable to me. I get upset with an umpire, but you'll never see me jaw off to a point where I'm about to fight somebody. There's so many videos. I watched one this morning where a guy came up and was yelling at the umpire. He got tossed and he kept on pushing him, the ump slapped him, and then they're in a fight. I'm like, how you getting you in front of kids and you're out here fighting an umpire?
You could take that to any level you want and realize that as a whole in society we have lost the ability of two things. One, nobody will take the ownership of de-escalating a situation anymore. Everybody wants to escalate. Whatever you do, I got to do one level higher, and that's just functionally never going to work anywhere. And then the two, and this is a phrase that I think we all still use it a lot, but I don't think anybody means it. Respectfully disagree. Like, if you say, "I
Yeah.
respectfully disagree," nobody respectfully disagrees with shit anymore. If you disagree, I hate your guts and you're just wrong and an evil person. And I think the fact that we can no longer respectfully disagree and everybody feels like you're an absolute you know what if you're the one to de-escalate a situation. Those two things alone are like you said, it's 11U and 12U travel baseball, and you got some parent who's probably roided up on who knows what, wanting to fight with a $12 a game umpire who's just trying to make bucks to probably pay for his college school books. Like, let's just back off a little bit and realize not everything has to be that intense and that serious.
I'm somewhat guilty of this and to a degree, but a lot of these dads that coach and all of these coaches, they're just kind of living through their kids and they're trying to relive their history. And like I said, it's a little bit of a pot calling the kettle black because there's a lot of what I do is kind of want to relive my youth and go through baseball through my kids, but you'll never see me get to that degree. I've got tossed out of one game and one basketball game, one baseball game. Now the baseball game was a little bit BS, and it's funny I say that because there was a call. It was I think it was saying he didn't make a move towards first after a drop third strike, and he said he gave himself up when he was going straight, and there was an interference call. Either way, the ump called it one way, so I was like, okay. And then he came together with the other ump, and they discussed it and still kept the same call. I was like, okay. Well, then the coach from the other team came together with that ump, and then all of a sudden he overturned the call. I'm like, hold on a second. I said, you can't overturn a call based on what a coach says if the umpire didn't see it. I already heard that umpire say he didn't see it, so he couldn't overturn it. So he overturned it based on what a coach said. And all I simply said was, man, that's BS. I said, "That's BS." And then he went to telling everybody, I said, "Bullshit." I actually said the words. And I was like, "No, everybody's out here." I said, "BS." So he tossed me. And I was like, "Whatever, man, whatever." Thankfully, we got Game Changer, and it showed that I basically said BS. But I got tossed for that. That's about as hype as I'm going to get. For the most part, I know that the umps are human. I'll get upset with a call, but usually karma works its way out. Ball don't lie. We had a situation this weekend, the same scenario where that same overturned and overturned, which is ungodly to me. It was awful that you can't overturn a call twice. It was the same similar situation. But I everybody was upset. I was like, don't worry about it. Ball don't lie. Ball don't lie. I'm not kidding. The next batter got on, and then the batter after that had bases loaded, hit an in the park home run. I said, "Ball don't lie. Karma comes back, man. I'm telling you." So that's why I don't get too upset. So these people that are fighting umpires and stuff, shame on you. You shouldn't be coaching kids.
Well, like I said, you take that even just beyond the specific example of umpires and stuff that youth baseball play. Like, it's way too pervasive in our society. Like, I mean, you don't have to scroll through the internet long to see some gang fight, some or just an all
Yeah.
out melee pops off somewhere. And every time I'm looking at this, going, what led to this? And it's invariably something stupid and ridiculous, but people just won't de-escalate, can't understand how to communicate through a disagreement, and so it just comes to blows. And I mean, look, it's to the point now where, and I've always been a bit of a smart ass, but I've always had good intentions. I always have a smile on my face. Like, I'm clearly trying to be somewhat playful and amusing when I'm a smart ass. But it's even got to the point now where I'm careful. Like I don't play with people like I used to. Because you just never know where a playful comment will set somebody off, and then from that point they refuse to de-escalate shit because they don't want to back. And it just things get out of hand in a heartbeat these days. And if you don't believe me, just like I said, look at the internet. Like just all out brawls popping off for no damn reason.
I
Don't
don't
get on a
think.
Carnival cruise, David. Don't get on a Carnival
Oh
cruise.
man, they will go out go on a cruise these days. You'll get that. There's people dying from that rotavirus or whatever that virus is that's going around, and you got nowhere to go. You just trapped, son. That's brutal. Um, Talking about nobody wants to de-escalate. I think the people that do want to de-escalate are the people that have been punched in the face before. And that a lot of the problem is people ain't been punched in the face anymore. They don't know what it feels like. It effing hurts
It does.
to the point where you don't want to do it. But a lot of these folks that want to escalate and keep going and going and going apparently have never been punched in the face before because I'm I consider myself a bit of a hothead, but I don't want to really get in a fight anymore. I will. I have no problem with it. But if you've been punched before, it'll make you want to de-escalate some things. And a lot of folks, not a lot of punching going on. It may be because we don't have the bullies we used to. I anti-bully for sure, but they have its place. Bullying has its place.
Well, and I can't even or portray that this is some sort of recent and mature thing because I mean I'm like you. I think I have effectively been punched in the face twice, like where it landed and I like it wasn't
You felt
deflected.
it.
It caught me, and you're right. It sucked both times. Neither was any
None of
fun.
them's good.
So no, I've always known I would like to avoid anybody's fist connecting with any part of my face if at all possible. And again, back in my days, especially back in my younger days when I was drinking and out having a good time a lot, I mean, I'd run my mouth. I ended up in some sticky situations, and my mentality was always, if this mouth can get me into trouble, my mouth should also be able to get me out of trouble. And more often than not, and look, I ain't got too much of an element of pride to say this. There's been plenty of times where I've had to just go put my arm around somebody and go, hey, look, man, clearly I said something wrong or you took it wrong. Let me buy you a drink. Let's just squash this because nothing good happens by going in any other direction. Like if you get in a physical altercation, especially these days, there's really only a handful of outcomes. One, you get your ass whooped. Well, let me tell you, that's going to suck. And the other option is you probably whoop somebody's ass and then you're getting arrested. Well, that's going to suck too. So you're either getting arrested or you're getting your ass whooped in most physical altercations these days. And I'm just saying, if those are the two outcomes, I can find a better scenario and a better pathway.
We said before in the days of before body cam, you could have a cop come up and be like, "Oh, y'all just break it up and go home." Can't now. Yeah, you got to go to jail or, like you said, get your ass beat. Anti-bullying, as I said, but it does has its place. I won't go into too specific a detail, but at the park yesterday in Winder, some big boy, probably, I don't know, 11, 12, maybe, riding around on a scooter, had on the tightest little ass shorts I've ever seen in my life and the tightest tank top. It's his 6-year-old brother's shorts, is all I'm gonna say. It was bad. And I'll say, young man must know how to squat because he was thick. My boy was thick, wearing the tightest shorts. And shame on you, parents, for letting him come out the house. He took over the whole park. Couldn't nobody not look out. He looked is a sad situation. Now, somebody should have been bullying him to the point where he'll never wear that again. Because it was, I couldn't, I was like, "Man, what's this man wearing these tight ass pants for?" It was just unbelievable. It was hard to see.
Well, I don't know that I would go as far as to be a proponent of bullying like you are, but I am okay with saying let's just start removing all the warning labels off shit. Like like no more helmet laws, no more seatbelt laws. If like I respect the hell out of the state of Florida because if you want to get on a crotch rocket and not protect that melon, God bless you. That's on you.
You can do
It's
it.
not going to end well if you lay that bike
Mhm.
down. I promise you. But no, like again, the name of the show, David, common sense superheroes. Let's just stop. Let's remove all the warning labels. Let natural selection sort some of this shit out because at some point we have. I think we talked about it on one of our recent episodes. Poor decisions should have consequences. And our society, especially the last 20, 25 years, has just done everything in its power to remove any consequences from these poor decisions. And here's what happens if you don't have consequences associated with poor decisions, people keep making poor decisions. And that's
Yeah.
where we are today. People have made a lot of poor decisions with no repercussions whatsoever. And so that's why we have warning labels, and that's why we have 11-year-olds wearing crotch pants out. Like, it's ridiculous.
Well, his parents should be a damn shame and should have said something. And ironically, we came home that night. No, this was Saturday night before that happened, but we came home that night and the boys, my older boys that came home, they were riding around with their friends, going to play or whatever. And we call them in when we get back, which is dark basically. And my older boy comes in and he's still got his uniform on with his tight ass little baseball pants and his jersey. And I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, what do you mean? Why are you still wearing your baseball uniform? He's like, I don't know, I didn't feel like changing. I'm like, you look foolish. You look like a fool. I'm like, no friends picked on you? They should have picked on you. All his friends played baseball too. They came home and changed, and he's still wearing his uniform. And Brooke got mad at me, but I'm like, no, somebody's got to call him out. He looks like a damn fool. If I come home and see a guy who had a baseball game that morning and he's riding, if I go see Ozzy Albies at his house and he's wearing his Braves uniform at that night, I'm like, what the hell are you doing? Now, wearing it before because you're excited the night before, I get that, but we're at 12 now. Take your damn uniform off. You look like a damn fool. So
I
I
mean,
was bullying
I
that
would have
night.
thought by his age, the jersey would have been off before he got to the car.
Exactly. I'm like, buddy, I appreciate you being proud of it, but he may just be lazy. I don't know, but it's not a good look.
Oh, I'm sure that's all it was. He just didn't want to take the time to go in and change. He just wanted to get straight to playing.
he has no freaking game when it comes. I'm like, you never gonna get a girl like that, buddy. I love him.
Yeah, I
He's as
mean,
handsome as they come, but he has zero game. And riding around
he
with a damn uniform on like that ain't gonna
he
help you any.
he can look under his own roof and realize you ain't got to have no game to pull a good woman.
Listen, your boy had hey, just don't go there. Your boy had game, son. In my mind, anyways. But that is where bullying takes place. But speaking of bullying, but for the fifth time, I didn't bully him, but there was a couple years ago where we went to the Gwinnett Stripers game, and it happened to be on this day, which is May the 4th. So it was May the 4th be with you night, Star Wars night, and I'm sitting down next to a damn stormtrooper, a grown ass man dressed up like a stormtrooper, eating a hot dog with his mask off, and his whole family's there. And I'm like, you left the house and drove here in a stormtrooper uniform. Star Wars, I don't get it, Greg.
No, none of those big like Star Wars, Star Trek, Lord of the Rings. None of those have ever really been my jam. I've seen some of them, I assume, and I'm sorry to throw you a curveball, but that led me to a thought for a discussion that I've had an ongoing debate with various people for 2 decades or so now. Now, obviously, I unless you are going to like a theatrical release of a brand new Star Wars movie and you're one of those people that goes to wait in line, like maybe then
Costume
you can
wearing.
dress as a character. I get it. Those cats are a little different. But here's my proposition for you, David. Grown men wearing sports jerseys, okay or not okay?
I'm gonna go not okay. Well,
Yep.
I'll make an exception. It's only okay. Well, A, if it's your kid, first off.
Yeah.
Like, but I don't have a big problem with a sports jersey that's not personalized, like a not like if I go to the game and I'm wearing a Matt Olson jersey, I would feel foolish wearing somebody younger than me. I do have a Dion jersey, Braves, and a Dion Falcons jersey. Never worn them, but I do have them. But if it's a Braves jersey with no number on the back, it's just a regular Braves jersey, it's not as bad. But for the most part, not a fan. My wife will tell you, no exceptions, do not ever wear it. But I'll give it a little bit of a pass when it's not personalized, not a person.
My take is if you are a male and you are over about 14, 15, 16 years old, you can't wear a jersey, especially can't wear a jersey with somebody else's name on it. Like I said, it's
Yeah.
one thing if you're grown up as your kid, but you don't wear like I'm sorry, like you won't find a bigger Georgia Bulldog fan than me. I ain't wearing a Georgia Bulldog jersey on game day. Not happening, not ever gonna happen. It's great on girls. Like chicks look cute in jersey. I like that.
Mhm.
Now chicks look cute,
Yeah.
kids are cute. like I said, if you're a male, 14, 15, 16, that's about the end of you wearing jerseys unless it's your name on the back
They had to have been
and your jersey,
retired.
not your name on some pro team's
Yeah,
jersey.
that's
That
even
that shit
worse.
don't fly either.
You had to have, if you're gonna wear a jersey, I feel like the person you're wearing had to have been retired 10 years. A Greg Maddux jersey with going to the Braves games, kinda cool if you can pull it off. A Chipper Jones jersey, a Dale Murphy jersey, a Bob Horner jersey. The more unique you get that you don't see a lot of, like if you had an Ozzie Virgil Braves jersey, I'd be like, okay, that's kind of cool. But if you roll up in a
Dude,
Drake
Ozzie
Baldwin's,
Virgil doesn't have an Ozzie Virgil Braves jersey.
I'm just saying that would be the type I would rock an Ozzie Virgil now. That's pretty pimp. That's an old school. I don't know how many of our listeners are going to get that. But if you roll up with a Drake Baldwin jersey and you're 49 years old, looks bad unless you're Drake Baldwin's dad. It's not a good look.
You open the door. Like I can get on board with the kind of the caveat if it's like an old school nostalgia jersey. If it's like, if we're in Truist Park and they're honoring Dale Murphy and you've got, a retro Murphy jersey, maybe then as a grown man you can rock it from the child. Like, but no, more often than not, if you're a male, just for hard and fast rules for the people, David. If you're a male and you're over 16 and you're contemplating putting a jersey on, the answer is no. Just be safe. The
Now,
answer is no.
now what about this? How come it seems as if hockey jerseys get a pass? For some reason, that seems okay.
Well, because hockey is primarily a Canadian sport, and those people up there don't have a lot of shit to attach themselves to or be proud of, so we let them take what they want.
I'm thinking Clark Griswold, black Chicago Blackhawks jersey. Kind of cool. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but then you're going back to the '80s. Like that's a
Talking about the
different
hockey.
generation. I'm talking
You
about
look
now.
like a heavy set DJ guy. I will say, like an old DJ would rock a hockey jersey for in a heartbeat. A shock jock, your Bubba the Love Sponge types. Seems like hockey jerseys were always the norm back then.
Whatever happened to Bubba?
He's
I actually
still
listened to that show. Is he still
he's
doing the show?
he still does his show. I think it's
Dang.
mainly on X. He does a live show on X. I don't know if he does anything on the radio. It'd be Tampa local, but I remember getting into him when he was on in
Yeah.
Macon.
There's
Him and
there's a
us.
stage of life where I listen to that every day.
Occasionally, I would still listen to Monsters in the Morning. I'd listen to them a little bit. Yeah, I was big. I met Bubba when I went to meet Hulk Hogan that time. Bubba the Love Sponge was there. I got his autograph. Got a picture with him too somewhere when I was down in Tampa. So
You
funny,
should be
but
proud.
he's still the same old Bubba. He's the same rock jock. It's a little shock jock, rather. Yeah, I think it's a little different now because you can get away with a lot more on X, but I don't think I mean, hell, he's got to be pushing 60 at this point.
I would think so.
Although occasionally, I never really got into Howard Stern, but he'll do an interview every now and then that I'll want to flip over on Sirius XM and listen to because of who he's interviewing. He's still the same Howard. I'm like, bro, you pushing 80.
See,
Let's
I feel like
stop with the
I feel like
inappropriate.
Stern has completely mellowed out what little bit I see. Like I said, but I don't watch whole episodes, but just, I mean, he's gone so far like woke lefty, like
Well, he's
just,
very woke lefty, but he'll still have the commercials and all the little skits that they'll do that are inappropriate. I'm like, come on, man, this is ridiculous. But back to the
I
May the
never really
4th.
had the appreciation for that stuff.
Yeah. Star Wars, not my jam. I'm kind of envious somewhat of the people that really get into it. And you were talking about dressing up, going to the premiere and all that. Another big one is the Comic Cons. And while I know they spend tons of money and all that, but I could never do it. But I will say I've seen some of the photos from Comic Con and they have a couple ladies that will dress up. I mean, getting it done. Okay. Nerds got something going on because there's some hot nerds, women that dress up quite scandalous.
Yeah, but here's my take on that, and it's kind of like what Halloween ultimately becomes when you're in college. Like
Mhm.
for those girls that going to Comic Con is just an excuse to dress a little slutty and a little sexy.
Absolutely.
And frankly, guys like you and I, especially guys like you and I don't give two shits. Could name what the outfit is from, what show it's from, what comic magazine it's from, don't have any clue who you're supposed to be, but you're either hot or you're not hot. And hot's hot,
Yeah.
regardless of whether it's a Comic Con outfit or
I don't
anything
give a
else.
damn if you're in a
Uh,
Star Trek shirt with
no,
a Star Wars hat. I don't care.
yeah, I
I don't
mean,
care.
I couldn't name a figure skater, but I like what they wear. Figure skaters look hot too, you know. I like figure skating outfits. So, no, the Comic Con thing, just no outfits. Like, look, if you can wear that shit, wear it at home. If your husband likes it, put it on for him. That's all you need to do.
I love that those people have a place that they can go and be themselves. I give them credit for that. If you wanna be weird and into that, I like that you got a group that you can go do that with. I think it's beautiful. I personally couldn't do it, don't know anything about it. Star Wars, I remember watching the first 3. I may have watched the ones after that, but couldn't recall it. Probably couldn't tell you much about the first 3 that I watched, but
Hey,
it hugely popular.
let's get some listener engagement on this because this is something I've had talks with hot young wife about. Man, I know I watched the first 3 when they were new back in the 80s,
Mhm.
or early or late 70s, I guess was the first one that came out. But anyway,
Yeah, so we
so
watched
I
them
know I've seen
secondary, but
those.
yeah.
I know I've seen those, but it's been at least 35 years since I've seen anything Star Wars related. So my question for the 4 listeners, if I was going to take on the task of saying, okay, I'm going to watch all of the Star Wars series now as a grown up, I have heard so many different nuances about which order to watch them in. This episode first, because you got the prequels, and then you got the sequels, and then you got this trilogy before that trilogy, and I don't have any idea. So if I were to try to watch all 47 Star Wars releases, or however many there are now, I wouldn't even know where to start, where to finish. So if we have any Star Wars folks that listen to this, if you're one of those people, ignore the fact that we've been making fun of you for the last 10 minutes and tell me, or go on David's Facebook and give me a list in order of how I should attack this Star Wars movies if I'm going to watch them all.
Mhm. I'm sure somebody will reach out because 'cause they're very passionate about it. Greg, I hate to have to end it short, buddy, but I'm about to die over here. So we're gonna call that an episode and leave it at that as far as let Greg know what Star Wars, how will he watch it is another bet that I would bet on, and I could do that on beliefs, ballots, and bets is where I would go learn that information to possibly bet on it. Greg, I believe you haven't put out an episode today, but gonna be working on
No,
it.
I'm gonna record today's episode. I actually had a little bit of work I had to do this morning. I don't like it when the job gets in the way, but I'm gonna try to spit that one out here shortly after you and I hang up.
Yep. So check that out. Guys, appreciate you listening. Episode 32 is in the books of Common Sense Superheroes. Greg, as always, leave us with some words of wisdom.
Hey guys, you know the deal, man. Get in your Bible, say your prayers, love each other, and tell the truth. God bless.
Peace.